Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to be covering everything releasing in Minecraft 1.21.2. So let's get the biggest feature out of the way first, and that is the bundles. Bundles are a new item. They come in 17 different colors, the 16 Minecraft colors, and then also a undyed version. Bundles can hold up to a stack of items. So if the items stack up to 64, then it can hold 64. If the item is like a sword and can't be stacked, it can then only hold one of them. Now, if I pick up a load of random items and start filling the bundle, you fill the bundle just by left clicking with the bundle in your hand, or if you have an item in your hand, you can left click on the bundle. So when you fill a bundle, 11 items, if there are more than 11, can be seen at one time. Now, if you hover your mouse over a bundle and start using your scroll wheel, you can select an item that you want to take out. Once you have selected the item, you then just right click, and the item will be removed. And you can remove any of the items that are visible. You cannot remove any of the +9. Now, if I was to add another item in to this bundle, you can see that all the items shift down. And that is because the bundle works in rows. So, for example, when you add an item, it won't just shift all the items back one, it will shift the row back one. Now, also, as well as scroll wheeling to take out an item, you can also have the bundle in your hand and just right click. And that will let out the item that is in slot number 1. So this item right here. If I was to click, you can see it lets out the black concrete. If I was to do it again, it would let out the purple stair. Bundles do also have some like durability bar, and this bar shows how full the bundle is. So if we quickly just grab a stack of items and throw this in, you can see once the bundle is full, the bar will show red. Now, if I quickly just show you how the bundles are crafted, they are crafted with 1 leather and 1 string. And it doesn't seem to be shaped. They need to be on top of each other like so. Now, you cannot obtain dyed bundles by throwing in the dye like so. You have to craft the bundle first, and then you dye the bundle with a bundle and the dye in the crafting grid, which as you can see gives us a dyed bundle. So the next thing comes with some aquatic mobs. First off, salmons now have different sizes to them. These sizes are randomized when they spawn, and you can see just from this group we have some very small ones compared to very big ones. This is a Bedrock Edition parity, so it's a Bedrock feature coming over to Java. And then we do also have some changes to glow squids, squids, and dolphins. And this is all 3 of these will now have a baby variant. The baby variant cannot be bred from any 3 of them. It can only be found naturally when exploring the world. Now, I should be able to get it just from clicking a dolphin egg. Yes, there we go. There is the baby dolphin. They work exactly the same. They're just a smaller version of the dolphin. Same with the squids. If I put down a squid and click it on, you can see that is what the baby squid looks like. And then that is what the baby glow squid looks like. The baby variants don't work any differently. They are just a smaller version of the adult. Although one thing I do quickly just want to mention, if you try to feed a baby dolphin cod, it will not lead you to treasure. Rather, it will grow the baby dolphin up. Now, Minecraft have also updated the textures of banner patterns. Banner patterns now have a new texture, as well as the banner pattern is now textured on the item as well. So you can see what the pattern is without looking at the name. The names have also been updated to now include the name of the banner pattern in its main name. Now with this, smithing templates have also been renamed, and this has once again been changed to include the trim's name in the main name. So as you can see, before they were all called smithing template, and then there was a tooltip with a name. You can see, for example, this one is called silence armor trim, and in the tooltip it now tells you that it's a smithing template. Another change has been made to bats. Bats will now be able to spawn at any Y level. Before this update, they were limited to below sea level. Now, as long as the requirements are met, so for example, it is dark enough, and also they have a solid block they can spawn on, bats will now be able to spawn at any Y level. So you can even find these guys on the surface now. Minecraft have also updated the bubbles, another Bedrock Edition parity right here. When you are drowning, your bubbles will now empty rather than disappearing. This doesn't change anything, it is just purely a texture change, but they have also added a sound effect, and as you can see, it's a breath meter dropping. Now, Minecraft have also updated the rarities of a load of items to better match the actual rarity that they are when you are playing the game. So, for example, the rarer they are in mob drops, loot tables, and things like that. So let me now quickly just go through the rarity changes. Now, once again, if you quickly want a recap of what the Rarity does, it is purely just the color of the name. So if I, for example, go to the mace, that has the epic Rarity because it is purple. The trident has the common Rarity because it is blue. So if I quickly just read the list of the Rarity changes, common is now End Crystal Golden Apple. So they've made the End Crystal and Golden Apple no longer have any color to them. Uncommon, which is the yellow, is now the Sniffer Egg. So Sniffer Egg now has a yellow name. As well as Chainmail Armor, so all 4 variants. Recovery Compass, Disc Fragment 5, Nautilus Shells, Echo Shards, Goat Horns, all Pottery Shards, Ominous Bottles, Ominous Banners, Netherite Upgrade, Sentry Armor Trim, Dune Armor Trim, Coast Armor Trim, Wild Armor Trim, Tide Armor Trim, Snout Armor Trim, Rib Armor Trim, Wayfinder Armor Trim, Shaper Armor Trim, Razor Armor Trim, Host Armor Trim, Flow Armor Trim, Bolt Armor Trim, and then the following music discs: Music Disc 13, Cat, Blocks, Chirp, Creator, Music Box Version, Far, Melanie, I think that is, Stall, Strad, Ward, 11, Wait, Relic, 5, Principice, now Rare Rarity, so this is the blue name, this is now Enchanted Golden Apples, also the Neverstar, the Ward Armor Trim, the Eye Armor Trim, the Vex Armor Trim, the Spire Armor Trim, the Wither Skeleton Skull, the Skull Charge Banner Pattern, and then the following music discs: Pitstep, Other Side, and Creator. And then a few changes to the epic Rarity is Elytra, Dragonhead, and Silence Armor Trim. Another change that has been made is Suspicious Stew recipes will now be shown inside of the recipe book. So as you can see, it doesn't show you what the recipe is, like what effect it's for, and this now shows for every single flower that has a recipe. A change has also been made to wolves, so you can feed these a lot more items now. So when they are damaged, to heal them, before you would only be able to feed them meat-like items. Well, another Bedrock Edition feature that is coming over to Java, you can now feed them all fish types. So this is tropical fish, this is cod, and this is salmon. You can also feed them pufferfish, which is interesting. And they can now also eat rabbit stew. Now, you cannot use these items to tame them, it is only to heal them. And you can also use these items now to breed wolves as well. One of the Redstone update changes has sneaked in to the 1.21.2 update, and that is the Redstone Torch. The Redstone Torch now has a new look to make it different from other torches. If I show you it next to the other two, you can see it now just has like a red glow around it. Mob spawners now have custom sound effects, so when you place these, they now use their own sounds rather than using other block sounds. So this is just a few of them that I'm playing in the background. They sound really cool, they just sound like a mix of chains and also volts. Jumping back to the recipe book now also has another quality of life update to it, and it now remember the last recipe you've done. So if I was to, for example, craft some bamboo planks, if I was to now click space, you can see it automatically does the last recipe I crafted. If I was to craft a crafting table and then click space, you can see it now does the recipe. Although I don't have any planks on me, so it's failed it. And also, if you hold shift and space, it automatically puts all items into the slot. So for example, let me hold shift and space, and you can see it's automatically put both stacks into the slots. Now, you do have to have the items in your inventory though. For example, if I was to do a chest and hold shift and space, you can see it puts all available items spread out into the slots. Now, there is also a new accessibility option inside this update, and this is the high contrast block outlines. With this off, then block outlines will be normal. With this on, then the block outlines will show as this blue texture. Now, this doesn't affect the breaking animation, it only affects the outlines of the blocks. And as you can see, it works on any block that I look at that has a hitbox. One change that won't really affect survival players, but I'm going to mention it anyway. The boats have been split into different entities, so before you would have to summon yourself a boat and then enter the boat type. Now, as you can see, boat types are just spawned by typing in the boat type. Now, this doesn't affect how boats work or anything like that. If you craft yourself a boat item and place it down, nothing has changed about that. It is purely just how you summon them with commands. Now, two things I do quickly want to mention. Minecraft have broken raid farms. If you have built yourself a raid farm that uses the bug where they could spawn at max height and complete the raid instantly, that has now been patched. So the changes they've made to raid farms is raids will no longer start if they can't find a valid block within range, and raiders must find a place to spawn no more than 96 blocks vertically above or below. So if you had a village very low and then you had the spawning platform more than 96 blocks above, this will no longer work. And also another change which I'm going to quickly mention is hardcore mode is now available for realms. So if you have a realm inside of Minecraft 1.21.2, you can now enable hardcore mode on that realm. Now they have also added a new death message for when you die to a mace smash. So this is when you fall on an entity and it does all the particles. If you die to that, there will now be a new death message. And if I quickly just die to it, I need to enter survival mode. So let's die to it. You can see this is a death message. Now these squiggly numbers will be the player's name. So for example, let's say I killed myself, it will say Belgie was smashed by Belgie. So the 3 changes that they have made to trial chambers, there is a new room variant, and this room is called an encounter. So when you are coming off the corridors, there is a chance you'll find some small rooms. These rooms only consist of like a few spawners, sometimes vaults and chests. I'll show them off in a second, but before we cover them, let's cover the other changes. First of all, the chests inside of the structure that are at corridor entrances have been replaced with hoppers and also barrels. And this is just to make it so you can ditch your items before entering the room. The second change is the beds that are placed in the mid part, so the intersection. These beds will now randomize in color. Let me quickly just show you the different encounters you can get. This is the first one. It is just a small little corridor, and this corridor has a vault inside of it as well as a spawner. We then have encounter number 2, which just looks like this. This one once again has a normal vault as well as a breeze spawner. Now the point of these are just small little rooms that are meant to increase the time you spend in trial chambers. Now we have this one right here, which is a tall tower, and this one has a spawner at the very top as well as a possible entrance at the top. And if we drop down, it has a vault at the bottom. And these rooms just connect off the hallways of the trial chamber. We then have this one, which has a load of dripstone at the bottom. So if you fall, then you are going to take a lot of damage. And this one has a spawner, which is the slow range. And then it does also have a vault at the bottom there. Now, it does also have some traps inside of this with some arrows. So if you jump into these, then the arrows will fire at you and possibly knock you off. And then the final encounter is this one right here. This one has a lot of decorated pots on the outside, or the decor. So it could be candles, decorated pots and things like that. We then also have up here a breeze spawner, as well as a random vault. Now the final 2 changes we're going to cover before we jump to some technical changes. Minecraft have changed how cooldown for portals work slightly. Now let me quickly just explain what a portal cooldown is. When you enter a portal, there is a cooldown between exiting the portal from when you can enter again. And this is, for example, so you don't keep switching dimensions if you get stuck within the portal or you don't move. And they've basically reduced the cooldown for most vehicles. It used to be 15 seconds, it's now half a second. So you don't have to be outside of the portal for that long before you can teleport. Now another change Minecraft have made is to slime blocks. This was a bug fix, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't expect this to be fixed. And this was that if you was to fall on top of slime blocks while you are crouched, you used to take full damage. Well, as you can see, I didn't take any full damage as that bug has now been removed. Now let's cover some of the technical changes, mainly item components, as there are a lot of new ones in this update. So first of all, there is the consumable component. This expands off the old food component. It has quite a lot of customizations. The seconds it takes to consume, the animation it plays, the sound effect it plays, and there are also some other things it takes in which are not listed here. Now I'm not going to explain like every single thing about these components. I will link the wiki in the description so you can check that out and piece together what you need to make these. We then have the damage resistant item component, which replaces the fire resistant. And this is a component that you can enter on any item which makes it resistant to the damage type that you have entered. So for example, this one will be resistant to any explosion. Then we have death effects. This is a new component that does what a totem of undying would do. So when you die, the item will be activated if you are holding it. And once again, you can have certain effects here of what it will do. This one just clears all effects like milk does. We then have the equipable component, which makes an item equipable into an armor slot. You can see you can specify the slot, the sound it plays when you equipped it, and also if it can be dispensed. There are also some other options you can have inside of this, like if there is an overlay on your screen when it's equipped, and also if it has a custom model when equipped. There is then also the enchantable, and this lets you input a value. This is the value of the enchantability. We then have the glider component, which makes it so an item equipped to you makes you glide like an elytra. This does also work with firework rockets, it does boost. When I have the item model component, which expands off of the custom model component, and this means that you don't need all of that now, you can just have item model, and it enters an item model in the slot right here. We then have the repairable, which is an item component that lets you enter a custom repairable item. So if this diamond sword has lost durability damage, it can be repaired in an anvil with a stick rather than diamonds. We then have the tooltip style, which I don't have a example for, but the tooltip style just lets you add custom tooltip textures to certain items. We then have the use cooldown, which adds item cooldowns. You can enter the amount of cooldown it has in seconds, and then also the cooldown group. The item cooldown is what is applied to things like goat horns between using them. And then we have use remainder. This is what is used in things like the suspicious stew. So when you eat one of them, you get a bowl in return. This one will give us a gunpowder when you use a splash potion. So that is the 11 new item components. They are quite good ones, and they definitely do change the game for technical players quite a lot. Now, the final change I want to mention in this update is there is a new option in the server.properties, and this is the amount of time the server requires for it to be empty before it pauses the server. So, for example, when you have a single player world, if all players leave, nothing ticks within the world, so crops won't grow or mobs won't die, things like that. So it's pause when empty in seconds, and by default this is 60. After 60 seconds of the server having no players, the server will be paused. Now it will not be shut down, so anyone can join the server still, but it will just pause anything going on within the world. But anyway, that is it for this update. I have covered the majority of the most important features. There are also a lot of bug fixes, but I'm not going to go through them because we will be here all day. But anyway, if you did enjoy this video, do like and subscribe. Now that 1.21.2 is released, snapshots will now be focusing on the Pale Gardens. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.